Thank you for joining us. If this video seems familiar, that's because it is. This is a re-edit and re-drop of our B4 zoom to Sony E-Mount adapter lens video. We're re-dropping this. We had some complaints about the previous audio in the last video, so this is our fix. Sorry about that, and hope you guys enjoy. I added a new test to the end of this video, so if you saw that previous one, go ahead and watch this one so you can catch the new test and video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe.
Do you ever wonder what happens when you take a vintage broadcast lens and you pair it with a modern cinema camera? Probably not, but we did it anyway. Today, we're adapting this Canon J16 lens right here to a modern Sony E-Mount camera, the Sony FX6. We're gonna dive into some of the lens mechanics and put this bad boy to the test and see if this old glass still has some magic left. Stay tuned and see the results. Thank you for joining us here again for another lens conversion. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. It really does help our channel get a lot more views. It helps us keep these videos coming to you. It really means a lot and we appreciate it. We've got some fun and informative new videos dropping every week, possibly even more. We're gonna up the ante in 2026 and bring you a lot more new content. We're getting a lot of great feedback and we really appreciate everyone who's watched thus far, and we keep making these videos for you. And if you're new here, I'm Chris. I'm a producer, director, cinematographer here at Wild 7 Studios, an independent production company based right here in the heart of downtown LA. So today's video is dedicated to this, the Canon J16 TV zoom lens for 2/3 sensors. We'll get into that in a little bit and why we want to convert this lens to a full frame sensor, some of the problems and issues we're gonna have for that. But I think the big question is why? Why would you do this? Why would you convert a TV cinema lens to a modern Sony cinema camera? This one right here, it's the FX6. Why would you do that? Honestly, the biggest reason is it's just fun. They're awesome, they're really cool. It's an aesthetic thing. It's not something that you're gonna use every day. It is some tools that we use in film are almost like a hammer or a screwdriver that you're gonna use every day, and then other tools are like a sewer digger. It's some rare specialized tool. That's kind of what this J16 is in terms of lenses, and a lot of these TV cine zooms are that. Yes, you can use them if you have them converted properly to a cinema camera, but there's a lot of issues in that. So one of the reasons mixing a lens like this that was designed for a B4, a really small 2/3 inch sensor with a full frame sensor, is that you're going for a look, that you're going for something nasty, that you're trying to make a mood that you can't really get with clean. I don't want to say clean, but I want to say appropriate lenses, because this lens is very clean. It's very, very sharp. It's not a dirty or nasty lens in any way, but it's not properly made for the FX6. These two were never meant to go together ever. Like, it's putting a round peg into a square hole, or a square peg into a round hole, excuse me. But they just weren't meant to go together. So in doing that, we're kind of creating something new. We're gonna make some Frankenstein images here today. So zoom shots in film and TV series are one of the many tools that directors and cinematographers can use to convey tension. It can add energy or emphasize or focus in on a specific subject or scene. It really is one of the best tools that filmmakers have to really tell the audience something very specific. In The Shining, director Stanley Kubrick uses slow zoom-ins on Jack Nicholson's face to convey the shrinking sense of sanity around him. They're unsettling, yet they're still really intimate. We can see his eyes, his smile, the stubble on his face. We're so close to this character. It's almost uncomfortable. In Kill Bill, and many of the other Quentin Tarantino films for that matter, he uses something called the crash zoom, and it's used quite a bit, and it's used to really signify that something big and bad is about to go down. He usually likes to follow up the crash zoom or precede it by like a hard one-liner where someone will drop something, or a call to action in some form of violence. If you remember in the beginning, or not the beginning, towards the end of Kill Bill Volume 1, There's the big fight scene with the Crazy 88, and there's several crash zooms leading right into that fight. And it's really kind of priming up the audience to let you know something big is about to happen. And it's almost kind of telling you, hey, wake up, pay attention, it's about to go down. Those are just a few of the examples of how film and TV directors can use zoom lenses to their effect. Those are just a couple examples. There's a whole lot of different purposes, some real creative and clever ones. Some people use zooms with dolly tracks or dolly moves. I actually went to a recent talk with the cinematographer who shot Friendship. Really fantastic cinematographer, super cool guy, gave a lot of great feedback. And one of the things he mentioned is one of his favorite shots is he called it the Zolly. And essentially it's a dolly track where the camera's kind of moving from one side to the other and kind of almost following a character, but as you're moving, it zooms in. And some of the examples he gave were from some Bong Joon-ho films and some other great films. And then he used it himself in Pen 15. He was the cinematographer of that as well. And he showed us some really great takes where they did this Zolly shot. I'll list his name in a photo of him. He's a really fantastic cinematographer, gave some really great feedback at his talk. So like I said earlier, this zoom is not practical with the FX6 at all, or any full frame cameras for that matter. It's bulky, it's a little cumbersome. The hand grip really wasn't meant for how we operate modern cameras. It's meant for an ENG style camera. It's meant for you to be kind of handheld, holding it here with your eyepiece there. It wasn't meant for how we operate cameras now. I mean, my FX6 has a hand grip on the side that's similar to ENG cameras, but it can articulate. And the reason you can articulate that is because I'm not gonna hold the camera to my eye like this. A lot of times I'm holding the camera below me or above me or in weird positions so I can articulate that pistol. On this, it does not articulate at all. It stays right in this lock position, so you must always operate the camera like that. Or in many cases, because of how the FX6 is, I'm operating it, pushing it above like that. And when I say operating, I'm talking about operating the zoom. And it has this button right here, TW, that's for tight, wide. Basically zoom in, zoom out. So the positives though, and there are a lot of positives to this, don't get me wrong. These lenses, when they came out, were really expensive. I got this one right here for about, I think it was about $400 on eBay. When they came out, they were really expensive, $20,000, $30,000 a lens. The image you get from this is incredibly, incredibly sharp. The zoom and the servo motor are incredibly smooth. They allow you to get some really, really fine-tuned zoom ins and zoom outs. And one of the most important things about this is that it's parafocal. So we're gonna pivot one more time. I brought up the word parafocal, and that brings up something, and I like to call it the great zoom debate. So there's this debate amongst cinematographers on what qualifies as a zoom lens. And in filmmaking, I think it comes down to one word, parafocal. Many cinematographers feel that if the lens isn't parafocal, it's not a proper zoom lens. So what does parafocal mean, and why is this important? Well, essentially, parafocal means that the focus stays the same even if the magnification is changed. So, in simple terms, if I zoom in all the way close on a subject and then zoom all the way out, the subject should stay in focus. So if I'm all the way zoomed out and I want to do a slow creeping zoom in onto their face, they should stay in focus from the wide end of the zoom to the telephoto end of the zoom. Most photo zooms don't do this. In fact, I don't know any photo zooms that are parafocal. I've never heard of a photography lens that has parafocal abilities. They don't really need it because you don't need to stay in focus between one moment to another. A lot of these lenses, one, have autofocus, and if not, think about it as a photographer, you're taking one image at a time. You only need to be focused for that one split-second frame. As a cinematographer, sometimes we need to be in focus the entire time. We have a couple of Sony G-Masters here at the studio. They're great lenses for photography and some filming purposes, but while they do zoom, they weren't meant to zoom while recording. So I would never actually call the G-Masters cinema lenses or actually use them for proper cinema. You know, you can get away with some music videos, things like that, you shooting on G-Masters, but you don't really ever want to shoot a feature film or anything big on G-Master lenses or any photo zooms for that matter. Okay, I'm personally of the belief that if a lens isn't parafocal, a zoom lens isn't parafocal, it's essentially a prime because you can only use it that way. It's no different than having a prime lens other than the fact that you don't have to swap it out. It's just a little bit faster. You can't zoom in and out during takes, so that's that, you know? This may speed up your production, but it definitely limits what you can do with the lens. That's really the only benefit I could see with that. And then shooting with zooms like that, sometimes the G Masters happen to be very sharp and they have an amazing image, but in my opinion, a lot of zoom lenses don't have the most pleasing image, especially on the wider sides. So a little history for my nerds out there. The B4 mount was created for standard definition broadcast cameras with a 2/3 inch size sensor. That's the B4 sensor we talk about. The majority of these cameras were electronic news gathering cameras, ENG cameras, and they were made by Sony, Canon, and Fuji. These lenses were really popular with news outlets and journalists due to their ability to zoom in and zoom out. Most of them could go from quite wide to quite telephoto. The biggest manufacturers of these B4 zoom lenses were Canon and Fujinon. The one we're gonna look at right here is the Canon J16 with a 2x extender. This is a really impressive lens. It's got a servo zoom motor. It opens up to f1.9 maximum aperture, and it zooms all the way out from the widest side of 8mm all the way in to 128mm. When shooting HD or full frame, you'll need to convert it to get a realistic focal length. I personally don't care that much. I just frame up what looks good and I remember what looks on the lens. I'm not big into conversions and, oh, this lens on this camera or this sensor is this. The lens is the lens. Come on, people. If you care, I'm sure there's a chart out there for somewhere where you can find these conversions. If you got a link to it, drop it in the comment below for those people who care. Like I said, I honestly don't care. What the image makes is, or what the lens image is what the lens image is. So now we're getting into converting this thing. Like I said earlier, this lens was not made for Sony cameras, so we're gonna need to convert it. And the first step you're gonna need is an adapter. Here at Wild 7 Studios, we shoot on the FX6 and the FX3, so we're gonna need an E-Mount adapter. Depending on what kind of camera setup you have, you may need to find something else that converts, but you'll need whatever to B4. We got this one right here. It's a Photo Deox one from B&H. It was about $150. It's really solid, well built. The locking mechanism is tight, which kind of worried me a little bit because this lens is really heavy. It's big and I didn't want to risk the mount or risk it popping off, but I haven't had any issues and I don't think we will have any issues. This is a really solid, well-made piece of kit. If the long focus isn't accurate on this, you can adjust this little knob right here and fix it. You should definitely check this out before you go out and shoot with it, especially if you're gonna do a pay job, any kind of music video work, anything like that. Spend some time and test out the lens before you get in there. The power to the zoom motor, you're gonna need some kind of power source. This thing right here is the cable to power the zoom motor, so you're gonna have to power it up. When these cameras were created, they were designed to be powered off of whatever is the same power source that the camera was using, the ENG camera that they had. We're not using an ENG style camera, and these modern cameras that we use don't use the same power connectors that old ones do. So I actually had to get an adapter. And this connection right here specifically was a 12-pin connection. There's no way you're gonna be able to see that on the screen there. But I was able to find also via the wonderful people at B&H, this D-tap to 12-pin connector. So I was able to put this onto the camera using a V-mount plate. So I mounted my FX6 to some rails, V-mount plate at the back with this attached to this to get the motor running. I'll have a photo of it, the setup later, and I'll show you some actual close-ups of everything so you can get a better picture of what the setup looks like. I believe these lenses also communicated with the camera. There's some other features that they have that I'm not really aware of. They had the ability to, I think, give some kind of metadata. I think some of them had autofocus. I'm not sure how to do it. It's kind of a massive headache to get all this to work. If anyone out there knows how to do it, drop us a comment below. We'll make a follow-up video or something like that and share it with people. Going back, I know there's some extenders and some other different types of adapters. I forget the company who makes them, but they're for adapting full frame cameras, or excuse me, B4 lenses to full frame cameras. They are really expensive. like really expensive. I looked up one of them and it was like $3,000, and there's no way I'm gonna spend $3,000 on an adapter when I could buy a brand new lens for that price practically. So right off the bat, when you shoot with these lenses, you're gonna notice something, and that's that the camera doesn't fit the sensor. It wasn't meant to, and it's actually much smaller. So on the FX6, we're gonna have to actually shoot in HD Super 35 mode. This punches in the image a lot, so you're not gonna actually be shooting the full amount of the sensor, or at least the full 4K amount of the sensor that you would traditionally shoot. So I'm gonna have to go into the menu and manually set this up. I'm gonna go through it real quick right here. And immediately after, I noticed another issue. The FX6, even cropped in Super 35 mode, is still too large of a sensor for this lens to be completely covered, even zoomed all the way wide. We get to about 35 millimeters here, and that's when you can notice the vignetting disappears, but it doesn't completely disappear until you're zoomed out to about 58 millimeters. But here's where things get really cool. Once you figure out the sweet spot of this lens, it's really amazing. I decided to shoot some footage around the studio and out on our fire escape to see what this lens could really do. To put it to the challenge, and here are the results. past weekend, I actually used the lens for the first time on a music video. I was shooting and directing. This artist, she gave me full visual control on the look of the video, everything like that. So I decided to go wild and shoot part of the video on the J16. The ability to zoom in and out at different speeds was really great. I could feel out the track and the tempo of the music and dictate how I was going to operate the camera. This was really nice. It was really useful. Towards the end of the track, when it built up, I was able to kind of get crazy with it and go in and out. And then to get really, really here. The front threading of the J16 is 82 millimeters. It's the same as my G Master, so I decided to add this look. I'm really pleased with the outcome, and even more important than that, so is the client. So stay tuned for some more upcoming videos. Again, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons. It really means a lot to us, helps us keep this content going, and again, we make it all for you. See you next time.